Good morning, everyone. Britt Simon here. Just want to make sure I'm actually transmitting. I'm actually going live. Let's see. Just going to check my settings here. Interesting. Live Q&A. Can't see it. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. You are live, it says. And it looks like there are some people. So that's good. It's that time of the week. Indeed it is. It's Sunday morning. I sometimes do Saturday morning, sometimes Sunday morning, and I just switch between those to suit my family situation. So, morning, Janica. Good to see you. Just in case, always like that name, Chow. Anyway, good morning. Long time no see. Well, yeah, it's been a few days, right? It's not very long, but it has been a few days. So let's see. Let me see why I can't actually log in. I need to just fix something, I think. Here we go. That's woken up. Okay. That's good. All right. So let's take some of your questions live. I'm going to try and take as many questions as I can. Let's see. Just hoping Nairobi Embassy comes back in the game. Yeah, I hope so too. There are a few months left. They do have the capacity. I'm a firm believer that they could get back in the game, but I have no information that says that they will or they won't or whatever. It's all just speculation until they actually get back in the game. So fingers crossed. Okay, my wife is Paraguayan but has Swiss passport. We're DV winners 2025. Does it matter that she goes to interview with a expired Paraguayan passport and uses the Swiss one for the visa? No, I mean, I wouldn't even go with the expired Paraguayan passport. Why would you? Go with the passport that is active, right? That's the one that you should be taking to the interview. You can take the other one as well, but if it's expired, you don't want to have the visa printed in that. Having a passport or having citizenship is nothing to do with eligibility for the DV lottery, right? The passport, the Paraguayan passport, adds nothing to the case in terms of eligibility, right? Just take that advice, really. Okay, let's see other questions. Since the 29th of January, I'm staying on 221G. I'm from Liberia. Any news on Liberia? No, no news on Liberia. But whatever is happening in Liberia is not of importance to your case. You're on 221G. It's nothing to do with processing in Liberia in general. It's to do with your case. Lucky Boy says, good to see you, boss. I had a criminal. What's that? Is that like where you do a really bad joke and you're arrested for it? Is that what crimical is? I think you probably mean criminal. Certificates which I made in 2024. My interview is in June. Is it valid? Yes, it is. Police certificates are technically eligible for, they're valid for 2 years. And so 6 months is fine. I generally don't advise people use one that's 2 years old unless they haven't been back to that country where they obtained a previous police cert from. But, as long as it's no more than a few months old, that's fine. Okay. Thoughts on current method of sending documents to embassy compared to earlier methods of Karoo? Don't know. Okay, so you don't send documents to the embassy unless the embassy tells you to do so. There used to be a procedure for about 2 years where documents were sent to KCC as part of their normal processing. And so there was a documentation step that was necessary before you could be scheduled for interview. That was stopped. That procedure was blocked. Came in DV 2019, caused some problems in DV 2019. And then I think it was taken out in during DV 2020 or perhaps 21. I think it was 21. But you don't do that anymore. Now, some embassies do expect you to send documents before the interview to that embassy. But for those, they have clear instructions in those embassy-specific instructions, okay? Bula from Fiji, prediction, Oceania, next bulletin. I've said before, probably about 100. 50 to 100. In previous years, if you see Oceania, you will see sometimes it went up by 50, by 75, by 100. That's pretty normal. And where they are now is more or less exactly where they should be. If you looked at my earlier predictions that I made back in October, I said the numbers were going to go to around about 2,000, give or take. It could be a cutoff below that, could be slightly above that. I don't think it'll be much above that. But with 4 remaining months, if they did 4 times 100, that would be pretty much precisely where I expect them to get. Possibly a little bit less than that. But so yeah, they're there or thereabouts. Not a big surprise. Do you think Addis will get back on track? And I'm 27K. Am I safe? Well, the second question is kind of pointless. The second question depends on the answer to the first question. Do I think they'll get back on track? I don't know. I hope so. You need them to be back on track in order for you to be safe, right? And if they are back on track, then yes, you'll be safe. But you're just asking me. The second question is, it's kind of silly. My case number is AF22K, submitted on December 24. Do you think that it's been processed per the month I sent? I don't know. Why do you ask me that? You can ask KCC and you can find out. You can ask them. Okay. There are people. I'm almost speechless at the amount of confusion we go through every single year about this. Every single year we have the same arguments and the same, lack of understanding. I saw a message from someone the other day that had submitted in June of 24, is not processed yet, and their case number was, I think, 15K in Africa. Okay, which many of you think that case number processing is by number order. It fucking isn't. It never has been. It just fucking isn't. Okay. So because a case like that guy who submitted it in June and June of last year and is AF 15K shouldn't be there according to that silly theory that it's in case number order. So I see many of you posting things like, oh, Africa's reached 40,000, Africa has reached 48,000 in processing or whatever, because you think it's in number order. It isn't in number order, for goodness sake. The DS260s are opened up in order received. Some cases take longer to process than others, significantly longer in some cases. So this guy who was submitted in June of last year isn't processed still, and it's I think that was a few days ago, so let's say the end of March. And there's something about his case, as I've explained, that means his case took a lot longer. Now, he has a low case number, so that confuses many of you, even though, for example, Philip, who's quite a famous DV lottery expert who's extracting data for us, his case was Europe 29K, and his DS260 was processed at the beginning of January, I think it was, which is far and away ahead. That's like saying an AF 65K number, right? And that was in January. Okay, so it's obviously not to do with number. Please get it through your heads. It's not to do with number. All right. Now, could they be doing something to prioritize cases after they've opened them initially that is perhaps based on embassy or based on number or based on whatever factor? Yeah, that's possible. But in general, you will still see cases that take a long time to process. And there's nothing necessarily wrong about that. It's a number of things. Now, I've explained that many, many times, but some of you just can't get it through your heads. So I don't know why. But there you go. So back to your question, I say the only way you can find out is not by me predicting or anything else like that. Is by just emailing KCC. You just ask them, have they processed your DS260 or not? And they give you an answer. Their answers are templated answers. We refer to them as stage 1, which is where you're not processed. Stage 2 and 3 are slightly different variations of an email, and they both mean that your DS260 is processed, but you are not current typically, or you're not in AV status. Stage 4 is where you are both processed and current and have been added into an AV queue. which is a queue of people in AV status. That means that they're ready for the visa interview. Okay. And stage 5, of course, is the 2NL itself, right? So, it's all a very simple process, honestly. There shouldn't be so much mystery about this. Hello, sir. I ask you about if you can talk about Accra Embassy now. I don't know. What do you want me to say about it? It's done pretty well. It's done much better than my expectations. I think they probably overdid it in January and perhaps February. They gave themselves a little bit too much work. I think they backed off from that amount of work that they had taken on. So, they've reduced their capacity a little bit, I think, to catch up, because they did 300 in 1 month. Bearing in mind they had been doing 20 and 30 interviews per month for the last couple of years. And then all of a sudden doing 300 in one month, scheduling 300 in 1 month was clearly a big ask for them, right? That's clearly beyond their capacity. And so, not surprisingly, they went a little bit slower, after that. So, we'll have to wait and see what they do. Okay. God bless you. God bless you for always being there for us. You're very welcome. What do you think of EU 26K Tirana, Albania? I haven't looked at Tirana, but I've explained to everybody how you can look at your own embassy performance, right? And I suggest you do that. EU 26K to me is mathematically safe. Mathematically, they cannot exhaust the visas available for Europe before that number. That's that's the reality. Having said that, that doesn't mean that they intend to use all of the visas. I don't know that, right? It also doesn't mean that they operate so badly that they make everything very chaotic in the last month. And we'll see some people getting, getting interviews where other people at the same number range don't, which is a bit of an unfairness thing that can happen. But the more they pull strokes like they did just last month, where they left the number the same for EU. The more they do that, the more likely it is that they do something chaotic towards the end. In my opinion, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't have wasted that month as they did for EU. We don't know why they did that. I speculated about why that might be, but we don't know for sure why they did that, and we'll never know. They won't publish some article somewhere, some note saying here's what we did. We'll never know. And so we can only speculate and hope that EU gets a bit turbocharged and goes to 19, 20K in this next visa bulletin that will be published in the next few days. Okay, so fingers crossed for EU. 74K Monrovia, any hope? Small hope. I mean, it's got to be a small hope. It's always been a small hope. Nothing has changed to to make that better. There is a reduction in density after a certain number in Africa, but that really just means that certain countries get cut off, and those countries are more often than not the accept countries, and so it doesn't really help normal processing in other embassies. It's always been a high risk situation for you, Mamadou. You'll have to wait and see till the end and hope that they do that last minute chaos thing of making the region current or a very high number, because mathematically you should not get a chance, right? Mathematically you should not. That doesn't mean you won't, right? You just have to sort of hope that something happens, right? What is the current state of Freetown Embassy regarding the bulletin? I think you mean how are they doing? And go and have a look. I showed last weekend how to do it. I've shown a video how to check your numbers. Zarthisius has made this amazingly easy. You can go have a look at his spreadsheet that he's embedded, which is Narek's idea, and Zarthisius has improved it. It's so easy now. It's so easy for you guys to figure out the data. There are YouTubers who haven't got a clue about anything in the world, but they can talk eloquently about the data because Zarthisius has made it available to them, right? and they've got all these silly little channels where they talk a bunch of shit. But what they have got is the ability to look at the data that we can all see, and they just talk about that. That guy, who publishes the here's what happened videos. Here's the highest case numbers that have been interviewed. My God, what a waste of time that is. Why not put out some useful information? Everybody in the world can go look at the fucking data. They don't need your videos, you twat, in order to go and find out what embassies were scheduled. Why do we pay these people any attention? And certainly, why do we pay him $20 a month or whatever he wants for his advice or guidance program or whatever he calls it? It's just ridiculous. It really is. It pisses me off no end. It makes me sad when people are out there taking money out of your pockets to give you information that is available to you for free from Zarthisius and from my YouTube channel and so on. And you've got these other people who don't know anything and they're charging you money for it. And, I don't know. It makes me kind of pissed off. Very pissed off, to be honest. What is the problem with your case? Hi, Sioman. Do I have hope for high case numbers for Asia, 28K, and Sri Lanka? I think I've told you multiple times, but no, you don't really have hope. It would take, an extraordinary set of circumstances in order to get to that number. One of the things that you could hope for is, a massive and very soon travel ban, but it's got to come immediately to save your case. And the most likely country to be banned in Asia would be Iran, right? So if they cut Iran off at this point, it would have an effect. But but the later it goes on, the less and less effect it has, because Iranian cases, the majority of them that are going to be successful, have already been scheduled for interview. We're at the beginning of April. In April, they'll be scheduling June interviews. And Iranian cases have got a difficult time if they're interviewed in June anyway, right? Because there's not enough time for them to go through the 221G processing. So couple that with the fact that some people will still go to their interview regardless, and all the interviews for Iranians, even though they're banned, will still be arranged, right? Then there isn't enough time for the feedback loop to say Iranians are not turning up for the interviews. There isn't enough time to sort of, to take advantage of that, to reclaim those interview slots, etc. Because in June, when those interviews are happening, it'll be the end of June when perhaps some people would be saying, well, I didn't bother going for my interview because I'm banned. And the end of June can only possibly affect the final interviews that will be arranged in July. Okay, so there really isn't enough time, even now, for a travel ban, if there is one, which doesn't seem like there's going to be a travel ban for the time being. There's been no further discussion of it. If a travel ban was implemented, it would, even if it was implemented today, it wouldn't have the sort of impact that would really make much difference to all the regions, because of that feedback loop thing I just explained, right? It's just not going to make that much difference. So 28K in Sri Lanka has always been very, very risky. It's never, ever been, a potentially good number, in my opinion. I've made that clear in my video. And I don't think things will get better for you, but who knows? You have to wait and see. That's the only thing you can do. But I'll see you next week when you ask the same question again, just in case. Sorry to ask you again. My case number is 14,100 in Myanmar. Is it possible for DV25? Yep, it's possible. I've already said that I think Asia numbers will, I've already explained what I think Asia numbers will go to, right? So EU 39,500, have any chance? Probably not. Mathematically, you shouldn't. It will take, sort of a minor miracle. But here's what it would take. You would be expecting, basically that's like EU being current or almost current to 40,000. Mathematically, that shouldn't happen. That's far higher than what happened last year, and what happened last year was unwarranted and unwise. So you shouldn't go current is the honest answer. However, even if you were to get current, you would have to be at a very particular type of embassy where they don't get so many cases, but they also are completely up to date and current, and they could expand the capacity if they wanted to, right? It has to be a fairly quiet embassy, because if you're at one of the very busy embassies, then they have a capacity which they set, and they have a consistent number of cases in each 1,000, and you can roughly predict how many interviews they could arrange before the end of the year, assuming that all case numbers were available and current, right? So you would need a miracle to happen on the visa bulletin, and you would need to be at one of the embassies that is the type I described, where it's a very quiet embassy, but has capacity to be expanded. It's a pretty slim shot, to be honest. DV results will come out or not 2026. They will come out, yes, in May. The process has not been stopped. Trump has fucked up many things. Let's face it. Let's be honest. It's been a complete unmitigated disaster of a presidency so far, and we're only 3 months in. It's been complete shambles. He's crashing the economy. He's taking away freedom of speech rights, or he's trying to. He's being blocked at every turn by the courts and complaining and whining about that, even though it's the appropriate thing to have happen. He's done nothing to fix the economy, make it less expensive for normal people. He's done nothing good, right? It's just been pathetic. But what he hasn't done, and what he can't do, is he hasn't waved a magic wand to say stop the DV lottery. He did come out with this stupid $5 million green card thing called the gold card, which is completely unlikely to happen. But if it were to happen, it would take an act of law, right? It would take some sort of law going through Congress, both houses, and then being signed by the president. The president cannot just create this new class of visa, called the gold card, even though he's printed the bloody thing and made a picture with his stupid face on it. That's not real. Even though Lutnick, who's one of the morons that works for him, told everyone on an interview that he had already sold 1,000 of these green cards, in one day, which was a complete obvious lie, right? Even though that happened, it didn't happen because there's been no law made for that to happen. Now, if they were to do some sort of immigration law, in order to get that gold card thing, they would need something else, some sort of other bargaining chip, because Trump wants this, and others would say, okay, maybe I'll give you that if you give me this, something for the dreamers, perhaps, or perhaps we modify the DV lottery and make it a points-based system, or whatever. What other politicians wanted, they would kind of trade and try and craft some sort of bill that puts a couple of things together. That's how it would happen. That's how the DV lottery could be stopped. But it hasn't happened, and I don't see it's likely to happen, in all honesty. With the stupid shit that they're doing right now, it's not likely that they're going to do something like that. Okay. Tendong says, I realized I got the lottery very late, and I submitted my DS-260 just last 2 weeks. My case number is 50,009 something. Do I still have some chance? Your DS-260 will be processed. Like DS-260s that are sent in late, even as late as May, and sometimes even June in some years, we do see those cases being processed. So yeah, you've got a chance. Your chance really is down to your case number, which is not there yet, and your DS-260 processing, for sure, but also your embassy. Which embassy are you at, right? So if you've only just come onto the scene 2 weeks ago, you probably don't know much about this. But those other factors are much more important than the DS260 processing to an extent. Because once your DS260 is processed, there's no difference between your case that you submitted your DS260 2 weeks ago and another case that submitted their case in May of last year. There's no difference between those cases if those cases are still, are both at the same number, about your 50K range. There's no difference at all. It's not like you get penalized because you sent in your DS260 late. It doesn't happen. As long as it's processed before you become current, which it will be, then there's no difference. You haven't caused yourself any delay whatsoever. So there you go. Asia 9000, when can we expect 2NL? Please reply. When you go current. I don't know whether that number will go current. It seems like a fairly big jump in this 1 month, but we do need to see some big jumps in Asia, right? If they continue going at like just 1,000 or 500 a month, it would be very, very weird. That would be weird. So I am expecting some bigger increases this month. I hope to see that for June interviews. If they don't start putting the foot on the gas right now, then yeah, it's going to be chaos at the last minute. Remember, the visa bulletin we're about to see between the 8th and the 15th of April will be for June interviews. And so then we only have June, July, August, and September interviews, right? So, so they've got to get going. 42K Nairobi. Is it a good idea to transfer now or wait for the VB this coming week and possibly see how Nairobi will behave? Wow, that's like you've got a pair of dice in your hands and you're going to roll your dice. 42K may go current in this next visa bulletin, right? And if it goes current while you're assigned to Nairobi, then you're pretty much locked into Nairobi, right? And you just have to wait and pray that they get back in the game and start scheduling interviews, right? If they get back in the game and they start scheduling interviews, then you're probably going to be fine because they can schedule enough interviews to get to your number, no problem at all, right? That's one side of the fence. If, on the other hand, you become current, and they don't get back in the game, then you're stuck. It'll be very, very difficult for you to move. It's easier to move before you become current. And so your number is on the cusp of a number that I think could become current. I think we could see Africa going to about your number, roughly speaking, maybe a little bit above, maybe a little bit below, but around about your number, right? And so what do you do? I don't know. I can't tell you. These are the sorts of decisions that only you must take. I can't really say for you, here's what you should do. Because I could tell you and it would go the other direction, right? All I will say is that in order to move your case, you have to have the best way to do it is to unlock your DS260 and change the address where you live because you have moved to another country. That is, the way that works in most cases, right? There are other ways of getting your case number assigned, but they're all less likely to be successful than what I just said, unlocking your DS260 and changing your address. So, now you must make your choice. Now you must roll your dice, Vince. Only you can roll those dice. You have to make your choice. Okay? Good luck to you. Good evening from Germany. Hope you're doing all right. I am. Thank you. I just had a lovely few days in the country. It was very, very nice. Can you tell how the travel bans will affect other countries for the DV lottery next year if they do at all? I'm not really sure about it. Thanks. Okay, so let's just cover travel bans if they happen, right? Firstly, the first thing that will surprise people is that when the results are announced in May, about a month from now, right? If there is a travel ban in place by that time, regardless of the travel ban, people from banned countries will be selected. The selection won't be stopped for banned countries. That's the first thing that will surprise people. The second thing is that interviews can happen for people in banned countries. So DS-260 processing and so on will continue for those banned countries, right? And scheduling will continue for those banned countries. And issuance will happen for those people from banned countries. If they go to their interviews, they can get their visas issued. And it will be printed into their passport, and it will be just as good as any other visa, right? What won't happen, though, is that they won't be able to get on a plane to enter America. That's basically what the travel ban does. The travel ban is a ban on entry into the USA. It's not a ban on any other part of the visa issuance process. Okay, so that's what happens. So many people will choose to go to their interviews hoping the ban is removed later, and in a lot of cases, that's exactly what will happen. The ban would be removed later because if there is a travel ban put in place, it'll be attacked by various lawyers. Now, the government got pretty good at wording the travel ban wording, making it a security ban. It took them 3 attempts, for them to get the wording right. But by the third attempt, their wording was allowed to stay when they did these travel bans before. So I suspect they will have similar wording. And we'll have to wait and see. Having said all of that, there is no discussion that's going on about travel bans. There's this stupid comment from Rubio on South Sudan. But I think there's only 32 selectees from South Sudan for DV25, and some of those will have already been issued. So that really didn't make any difference to DV lottery. But we'll have to wait and see what happens, whether travel bans happen or not. Okay. Mohandes says, jump online. Brit Simon here, missed right there, big phases. Yeah. Do you think Asia is going to go up at least a few thousand this month, from 6.5 to 8 or 9,000? I hope so. 8, yeah, I hope so. I mean, if it should get to 8 at least, because if it doesn't, mathematically they're just not pushing things at all. But I don't really know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping for pretty decent number jumps. Let's do some predictions. Why not? I think Africa is going to go. I think I've done pretty much all these predictions so far on this video, so I may as well just wrap it up. Africa, I think, will go to at least 40,000, maybe 43, right? Roughly in that range, plus or minus a couple of thousand, right? So could be in the range of, let's say, 40 to 45, something in that range. That would be a pretty big jump, but I'm hoping to see that. And if my life depended on it, I would probably pick about 42. Okay. EU, I think it could go to 20. I think it'll probably go to 19. That's what I'm hoping. But it's possible, and I'd like to see it go to 20. Asia, yes, I'd like to see it go to about 8.5, maybe 9 at the most, maybe. Oceania and South America, I think probably about 100 each. I think maybe a little bit less for OC, maybe 75. We'll see. So somebody write down those predictions. I don't give predictions normally. I think it's a silly game, to be honest, because I could be wrong on those predictions. And just because I'm wrong on those predictions doesn't mean I don't know anything. Or if some idiot manages to predict a number accurately, you guys seem to think they know something. And it's just not true. It's a parlor game. I call it a parlor game. It's just a silly trick, really. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Have you heard that phrase? So you can get a complete idiot that doesn't know anything, and they could get the number right on, the visa bulletin, because there are, 1,000 such idiots all making predictions. So one of those idiots will come out and say, "Oh, you see, I predicted it correctly." There used to be a guy in one of the Telegram forums that was so excited about his abilities to predict the numbers. Thank you, and it was complete nonsense. But every month he would come and say, "Oh, you see, I got that one wrong. I got that one right." He'd get one region right, let's say, right meaning within a couple of thousand, and the rest were all wrong. So he had 5 attempts. He gets one of them close, and he's proud of himself. Can you imagine if a soccer player had 5 penalty kicks? This is you're standing in front of a goal. There's the goalkeeper, and you give him 5 penalty kicks, and you manage to get only one of them on target. It's close. It's stopped by the goalkeeper, but you only got one of them on target. That football player would not be chosen to play football for any team if that was their normal thing. But honestly, if you get one out of 5, that doesn't mean a damn thing. Get all 5 right, I'll be impressed. And when I say right, I'll give you a plus or minus 1,000 on the big 3 regions. That would be good. Funny story. In the old days, when KCC opened their phone lines and allowed phone calls, I used to call KCC just before the visa bulletin was announced, and some of the ladies there would know me. I called most months, etc., and some months they gave me the visa bulletin numbers before they were officially published, because KCC are given those numbers early in most months, right? That's how they're able to start sending out 2NLs the day of the visa bulletin release. So they're given those numbers early, and sometimes I would phone with good timing and I would get those numbers and I'd write them down, and then I'd make these predictions. And these predictions were actually just what I'd been told by KCC. I wasn't predicting a damn thing, but and I was giggling as I did it. And I was never lying about it. I was just telling people what what they wanted to hear. But I was amazingly accurate in those months where I got those numbers. People thought it was some sort of mysterious trick. I don't know. Answered that question. Hope everything is gone better. Good, Nairobi. Yep, me too. Johannesburg. Any hopes for high cases? Joburg is one of those embassies you need to look at their month-to-month performance and their number of cases per 1,000. So you need to consider their capacity and their cases per 1,000, and from that you should be able to predict where they can get to. Okay. Osei, at the interview, it's necessary the derivative to submit a secondary certificate. No, not normally. Normally, it's only the principal applicant that has to prove the education level, right? There's one exception to that. When somebody has cross-charged, I hope I didn't just screw up my sound there. Just give me a sound check and let me know that you can still hear me, could you? There is an exception to the education certificate thing. It's where you cross-charge to your spouse's country of eligibility. Let's say I'm born in China, but I'm married to someone from Australia, right? And I cross-charge and I can enter the lottery through Australia. In that case, and I win, right? I'm the Chinese person, but I'm charged to Australia because of my spouse, right? In that case, both the applicants, the spouse and the principal applicant, will be treated as principal applicants. And some CEOs, in my opinion, correctly, therefore treat both those applicants with the same requirement of education. In some cases, they don't. They don't ask for that education certificate from the spouse. In my opinion, they should, because of the wording of the law, and they have done in some cases, but not in all cases. So but other than that, you shouldn't be asked for the spouse's secondary certificate, as you're calling it. Okay. What are my thoughts about 50K Algeria? You have to wait and see for that one. I don't know the numbers. I don't know what 50K means in terms of Algeria. So you'll have to wait and see. Any news about VB and 2NL? Addis? No, we have to wait and see. From Cameroon, I realize I got Tendong, we already spoke to you, right? Let's see. Our 2NLs only sent once a month by the embassy. Right, 2NLs are not sent by the embassy. They're sent by KCC. The embassy sets the capacity. They say we've got capacity for 50 cases. or 20 cases or 200 cases or whatever. And they tell KCC that, and KCC select the cases that will be scheduled, right? Only KCC does the scheduling, not the embassy. But let me take your question. Can they sometimes send more than one batch of 2NLs for a specific embassy? Yes, that can happen. It's not very common, but it does happen. I would say it happens, probably in most months, there's some embassy that's taking a second small batch. We don't make a big deal about it. It's not a big thing, but it can happen, right? I hear they detain some of the green card holders on entry. How difficult is the DV first entry? This is an unnecessary thing to worry about. The first entry is not an interview. People are not being detained on the DV first entry. It's not happening, right? You're putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 7. There are people being stopped mainly on non-immigrant visas. I'll come to green card holders in a minute. There are people being stopped on non-immigrant visas, and their social media is being searched and that sort of thing. For whatever reason, the officers are making life a little bit more difficult. There are some people who are being detained or even denied entry, typically on non-immigrant visas, not green cards, not immigrant visas, right? Not, like the DV lottery visa. Those people are not being detained in that way. Now, it is possible for the officers to search the social media profiles of anybody, including a citizen, if they feel they need to. But it's much rarer for citizens and green card holders to go through that process. If the Border Patrol officers want to go through my social media, they will see a lot of anti-Trump, pro-Palestine things, for example, and that's my right to my opinion, and they can go fuck themselves if they don't like what I say. I have the legal right to say whatever the hell I want, right? Now, that's brave talk because I'm a citizen. If I was a green card holder, I would still be talking that way because, I'm kind of reckless. But if you're a person coming from a Muslim majority country and you're entering on some sort of visa, including, green cards where you've been before, then, be a little bit thoughtful about your social media profile, right? You shouldn't be posting anti-American stuff anyway, really. But there is nothing more American than protesting against stupidity in government, right? That is an American right to do, and is a responsibility. We, the people, have a responsibility to say when there's shit going wrong and when stuff is being done, wrongly in our name. And taking Palestine, it's wrong to bomb babies to death. I mean, that just should be obvious to everybody. And, I'm sorry, I don't give a damn what your religion is. I really don't care about anyone's religion. I don't care about Christianity or Muslim or Sikh or any religion. I think you're all a bunch of idiots for thinking that God exists, any sort of God. I think it's ridiculous. But if you want to have those religions, that's your right to do, and I support that right? But I don't believe that we should be bombing people and shooting people because they believe in a different fictitious God than the fictitious God that we believe in. I think that's ridiculous. It's childish, it's moronic. I don't know how to say it more clearly. Whilst I'm not anti-Jewish, I'm certainly anti-Israeli government. The government of Israel deserve to be in prison as far as I'm concerned. And alongside terrorists from Palestine, who also deserve to be in prison. But the people and the babies of Palestine and Gaza don't deserve to be bombed. I don't give a shit what your political or religious beliefs are, right? I'm an equal opportunity hater of religion, and that's my right to do, okay? And if that offends you, I'm sorry, but that's your problem, not mine. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff they're going to see. If I go through Border Patrol, they're going to be seeing that sort of stuff on my social media. That's how I believe. What can I say? So there you go. Now, I did say I'd come back to green card holders. There have been a few limited cases of people being detained on green cards, right? Green card re-entries. In other words, they've already had their green card and they're coming back into the country. There's a couple of things with that. Number one, the couple of cases that I think are slightly credible tended to be conditional green cards, which is not the type of green card you get with DV lottery, right? So it shouldn't affect us. On the other hand, there is a justification for the government to revoke a green card and even revoke citizenship if they believe that you have obtained that green card or citizenship through fraudulent means. And that can include anti-American hate. So if, for example, Marco Rubio wanted to watch my channel and said that I was anti-American and that I was a supporter of terrorism prior to getting my green card, and that I somehow therefore lied in order to get my green card and therefore my citizenship later, he could, in theory, revoke my citizenship status, or he could try. He could revoke a green card pretty easily and deport a person such as me. He could try and denaturalize me. I'd have all the rights of any other person in America to defend against that. But, he could, in theory, try and make that case. They're trying to do that right now with a green card holder. So it can happen. And if you're, more cautious and less loudmouth than me, then maybe you should be a bit more careful. But, but certainly don't be in a position where you are asking for entry, which means come back before any 6 month, any absence of 6 months. Don't have absences of over 6 months now, right? As a green card holder, you should be back within the 6 months. That means you're not really asking to be readmitted. You're just coming back home, right? And keep up with all the rules, etc. File your tax report. Maintain a home in the USA, etc. Keep your absences to 6 months or less. Spend the majority of your time in America. These are simple things that you should do if you want to keep your green card. And the green card is not a visitor's visa. It's a right to live and work in the USA. And that's what you're supposed to do with it. If you're using it as some sort of super Esther, to come back and forth and never really live in America, then sooner or later you're going to have a problem. Okay. Okay, Senk. What is your new release prediction for EU? Already talked about it. What case number do you think will not have a quota issue and would be safe for EU? Already talked about it. AA Roy, I saw free photocopying sites online warning me not to upload and use them. If using the pic for DV lottery, meaning how scammers benefit by impersonating me using my pic without my details. Okay, wrong time of the year to be asking this. We're not doing entries till October, so I don't know why you're asking this right now. I'll talk about that at some later date. Why some cases being left behind when the embassy is scheduling an interview? Because the DS-260 wasn't ready, perhaps, or, it could be various reasons. It's too vague a question, really. So, Senk, sorry, you've already asked that, already answered. Do you think the lottery issue will be a problem for Iranians? My wife and children are in the US and they have green cards. Should I take the risk of entering the lottery program? The lottery is just a lottery. Okay, you do that and you do everything else at the same time. So if you're trying to come to America and your wife and children have green cards, etc., then they can sponsor you. It will take some years, but they can sponsor you, and you should try and come that way. At the same time, you can enter the lottery. You may be selected, you may not be selected. It's just a lottery. It's no harm in applying. Doesn't cost any money. If I have a green card, can I visit my mother country, which is under ban? Yes, of course. Hi, Brick. How do you see the performance of US Embassy in Ghana? Talked about it earlier. May is fast approaching. Yes, it is. Getting excited. While filling DS260, I forgot adding one phone number registered under my ID. Would that be a problem? Please, I need your help. No, one phone number, no. It's trivial. Talked about that one. DV results for DV26 will come, yes. Charles, do you believe 26 DV lottery is not going to be cancelled by the Trump administration? Will people still win the DV26 lottery? They will still win. They will still be selected. They'll still be processing, and Trump or any bill trying to go through. There's a bill. It's quite funny. There is a bill that is out there in committee to try and stop the DV lottery. The same bill is released every year. It has been for years and years and years. They've been trying to stop the lottery for years. And, one day it might happen, but it won't happen this year. This government is just not very good at getting bills through, to be honest. Same as the first administration. They've got a lot of fighting going on, even within the Republican Party itself. It's just a mess. It really is just a mess. So they're not going to cancel DV26, and I don't think they'll cancel DV27, and I don't think they'll cancel DV28, frankly, and so on. Is there a chance for OC 27,000, 2700, OC 2500? Probably not. You'll have to wait and see, but probably not. Since President Trump's return, DV lottery processing, especially in Asia, seems much slower. Do you know why this is happening? It's not happening. It's nothing to do with Trump's return. You're just, obviously, I suppose it's human nature to sort of, wonder if that's the cause for this thing. But this thing would have been happening anyway. Trump doesn't know much about the lottery. I mean, he barely thinks about it, barely thinks about important things. And for us in the DV lottery circles, we tend to think that DV lottery is important. It's not important. It's not at all. Less than 5% of the overall immigration budget, the overall number of immigrants each year comes from DV lottery. Less than 5%. Why do you guys think that that's important, that Trump wakes up thinking about DV lottery? It just isn't that important to anyone. Sorry. So, once you get that perspective in your head, that there is 95%, like over 1 million people come through other immigration avenues, right? Over 1 million people every year. And you think that the politicians are running around trying to think how to control the DV lottery or how to slow down processing in the DV lottery. It's insane that you think that. It really is. It's just nuts. They're worried about other things, people. No. When one submits the DS260 and later opens to make changes, I understand the confirmation page for all the DS260 form will, with the changes, have to be printed, making the previous one invalid. Not really. The previous one's not really invalid. It doesn't matter. You are asked to print off the DV confirmation page, the DS260 confirmation page. Do that. Do it again if you want, but it's not the biggest deal. You'll still be interviewed. Many people don't take that to the interviews. And I don't ever hear of a single case that has been denied because the person didn't print off the DS260 confirmation page. That just isn't a thing. So don't worry about it. What are we seeing with people re-entering and being questioned? I will be re-entering 5 months or so after my last trip to the USA. As a new green card holder, you're not going to have a problem. Relax. Don't worry about it. Okay? You're returning it within 5 months. You're fine. Suva Embassy seems to schedule quicker and process faster compared to the others. SID, AKL, and the region. Unfair advantage, right? Well, they got a lot more selectees, right? So they do more work. It's not really a surprise. Oceania has, in Australia, there's 894 selectees for Australia, right? New Zealand has 302. Fiji has 2,359. So basically 3 times the number from Australia, 8 times the number from New Zealand. You would expect them to be going faster. Unfair advantage? Not really, no. No, it's not an unfair advantage if they're just doing the work they need to do to to issue the visas they need to do. Right, Suva does well. It's a good embassy. They've worked hard. The last few years, they've been one of the ones that's been consistently good. But if you're at Sydney Embassy, you're probably going to be okay as well. They're pretty good, right? Thank you. You're just asking the same question again. Hello, Simon. The US has revoked all South Sudanese visa. Can it affect the DV lottery application wins 2026? It won't. It's a trivial thing. So, firstly, this is South Sudan, right? In DV25, there are 32. Let me check that number out. I've got it in my head. 32. Where's this? I just happen to have the visa bulletin up. South Sudan, 32. Damn, I'm good. My memory, I can barely remember my kid's name or my wife's name, but the memory I have for numbers is kind of weird. It's just weird. So yeah, 32 people for DV25 from South Sudan, which is probably 20 cases for the whole number range from up to 80 odd thousand, right? So it's very few people. Those people will be selected in DV26 as well, right? I don't think this particular little argument, Marco Rubio, who's a little tosser, has revoked all the visas for South Sudanese and wants to stop processing and so on, because South Sudan won't take back the people that are being deported from this country, which they're supposed to do if those people can prove they're South Sudanese, right? So it's just a little argument. I expect the argument to be worked out within a few weeks, probably within a couple of weeks, frankly. So I don't think it's going to have any long-term effect, but it only affects a small number of people in DV lottery anyway. Okay. I'm asking what you promised about mailing green cards, that you're still looking forward to set that for us platform. Where can you help us for that? Thank you. Lyric Center. Yeah, I did a dry run and it worked. So basically, I've set up a service where I can receive green cards and social security numbers for people that have previously registered their interest in doing that with me. I'm just working out the details of how I can automate this and make it a bit more sort of organized. If you're interested in that service now, it will be a paid-for service. The mailbox costs me money. Going there on a regular basis costs me time and money. I'm going to enlist my daughter's help to go check the mailbox on a regular basis. I then have to ship the green card and the social security number to wherever you need it shipped to, including a special service which would be shipping it to a FedEx location near you that you can then go and pick it up from with some photo ID and so on, or with some ID. So I can make all of that work, and it did work in a test. So so I know that it works, and I was very happy to meet up with the guy to hand over his details just recently. Met him face to face, and he was my guinea pig. Bless him. He's probably back in Australia right now, enjoying his time there. But so I can do that now. If you need to have that happen now, you can email me at britsimon3 at gmail. Okay, but if you send me emails just asking random questions, I'll just ignore those emails completely. But if you're interested in that service, then I can provide information about that now and start to do some of those. Okay, so let me know. And by the way, you don't need to do that if you've got a friend. If you've got a friend or family member that you really trust, right? That's the key point. You have to be able to trust that person. It should not be someone that you would trust with a very, very valuable, that you wouldn't trust rather with a very, very valuable document. The green card itself is valuable, literally financially valuable, apart from anything else. It will cost you a lot of money to replace, but it also is a valuable ID that others would like to get on the black market. Right? And the same goes for your social security number. So you don't want to trust just anyone with that information. You have to be able to trust that person. So do you trust me? That's your choice, right? I know I'm trustworthy, but do you trust me? That's up to you. But if you don't have someone that you can trust, then this could be a good option for you. Certainly don't get it sent to hotel addresses, Airbnb, that sort of thing. Don't do that, for goodness sake. You know, very likely going to lose that. Okay, so don't do that. But yeah, let me know. Case number 36,000 in Addis Ababa. I'm still waiting for 2NL. However, I have a 2-year home residency requirement that ends on July 21st. Will that cause any issues for the 2NL? It won't cause any issues at all for the 2NL because they don't know about it, right? So as long as you interview around about the July 21st timeline, then you will simply be on 221G until the July 21st, right? So if, for example, you got interviewed this coming month, not this coming month, from this set of 2NLs, let's say you go current and you're scheduled, and you get an interview scheduled in June, you could attend that interview. You don't have to delay the interview. You can attend that interview, and they'll simply put you on 221G. So, you know, you'll be fine. No problem. Still anticipating any changes from Trump admin for DV28. Yeah, DV28 is a bit far off, right? You know, we'll wait and see, right? Okay. About work experience, says Catherine. What type of jobs they want for me to qualify for the process? I have a Britt Simon Says article on this. So Google the words Britt Simon work experience, and I explain in that article exactly how to check whether your job is the sort of job that qualifies you for the lottery or not. Okay, just Google those 3 words. Britt Simon work experience. It'll be the first result that comes up. Okay. Has the DV26 draw already been made? Yes, it was made in December. It was made months ago. I'm AF79, currently in Dubai. What do you think about Abu Dhabi Embassy, and what are my chances to be interviewed regarding your case number? Your chances are very, very, very small, like almost non-existent. Not because of Abu Dhabi, but because of your case number more than anything else. So it would be miraculous, not impossible, but miraculous for you to get an interview anywhere, including Abu Dhabi. No, it's not impossible, not absolutely impossible, but very, very unlikely. Okay. What's my prediction this month? Like I give predictions every month. Well, I did in this particular live just earlier on. I should try and track that down. Okay. Is SA31XX safe? It's in the sort of risky range. Approximately 3,000 is what I said. Yeah. So you'll have to wait and see, right? North Macedonia EU35K, bit risky. Quite risky. I want to change to Egypt embassy, but people say it's risky because everyone changed their interview to it. Look, all of this is a risk. Your green card is not guaranteed in this process. It's all risky, right? It's just different levels of risk. Now, if you've got a low case number and a good embassy, your level of risk is quite low. But you could still turn up at the embassy and find that you'd made a mistake that gets you disqualified. So nobody is safe in this process until they have the visa in their hand. Okay. Right. Let me skip through some of these questions. Is marriage green card still possible despite ICE? Yes, it is. You just have to have genuine relationship, right? If you think you can get through the system with a fraudulent, marriage for green card convenience, if you think you can get through that, it's very unwise, right? Do you think someone can be denied entry at POA if they check his phone and find that he's been cheating if he's married? Oh, for fuck's sake, come on. What is it? Beckham, David, Kusaba. Come on. Let's be sensible. No, of course not. For goodness sake, they don't care whether you've been cheating or not. That's between you and your spouse, right? Of course, that's not going to be a reason they're going to deny. I mean, that's a really silly question. Okay. I'm winner of DV lottery, AF59K. I'm in the USA under TPS. Can I adjust status? Yes, but only once your number goes current, right? So you need to understand the adjustment of status process very, very well, because you're going to have limited amount of time to do that. And you must use the early filing policy. You must use it, right? At that case number, if you become current, it's likely to be in the final month of visa bulletin. And so you'll be able to file, therefore, when that comes out. If that's July 10th, for example, you'll be able to file that day, but you need to file that day because you need all that extra time. So, so make sure you understand. Go to forums.immigration.com and find the user someone's mum and follow her advice, right? Read all of her information and follow her advice, okay? Can one missing name or misspelled name of one parent on marriage certificate cause a problem? Not really. They don't know it's a missing name. They only have that document that you're presenting. So they don't know it's a missing name, do they? I don't know what's happening in Nairobi. EU 27K, have any chance? Yeah, I think so. You've got some chance. Dale, you've got the same thing. What to do is, I live in the USA on L1B. L1B, I think you're fine. But your AF65K, what I just said to the other person that asked about AOS at 59K, same thing exactly applies to you. If you get current, it will be in July when it's announced for September interviews, right? Your eligibility for an interview is going to be in September. But so you must be ready to file adjustment of status paperwork in July, mid-July, right? Early to mid-July. You should be ready by then, which means you need to be prepared. You need to have done your medical. You need to have paid your $330 fee per person. You need to have all of your I-485 package together. It all needs to be ready to go the moment you become current, okay? And yes, that means you're going to spend some money at risk, but it's a good gamble. I would do it. And if you don't do it, you're going to be delayed. And if you're delayed, you'll time out. So, do it. It's important to ensure host address is complete address. Otherwise, your SSN green card takes long to arrive. Yeah, can do. I mean, make sure your address that you're giving is accurate. That's true. On our marriage certificate, me and my wife's names are perfect, but there's one missing name for dad, groom's dad. Will that be a problem once if I win? I just answered this, right? They don't know it's a missing name. EU26, Vienna. I believe we have a shot. I had a tourist visa denial, which happened after we filed out a DS-260. We'd applied for a tourist visa a year earlier. Could that be a problem? No, not a problem. Like the fact that you were denied for the non-immigrant visa? No, of course, that's no problem. It was denied because you'd submitted the DS-260. That's all. And it was denied. The tourist visa was denied because you had demonstrated immigrant intent. It's pretty obvious you have immigrant intent in an immigrant visa interview, so that isn't a reason for denial. Nor is the fact that you had a denial on the tourist visa a reason for denial, right? So it's not a problem, okay? Okay, let's see if I can just take a couple more questions. Case number. Thanks for everything you do. We're getting married in May. Our case number is EU22K. Should we write to KCC to unlock the DS-260 now? Yes. Will they unlock it before we have marriage certificate? Yes. They can unlock it, but you can't resubmit it saying you're married until you're married. So, bearing that in mind, why the fuck are you waiting until May to get married? This is important. Alexa, is it? Get off your ass and go and do a civil wedding ceremony now so that you can submit your paperwork now. Like, so that you can resubmit your DS-260 as married. You need that processing. Why are you dicking around? Why are you wasting your opportunity? I don't understand what people do here. And yet you're going to tell me, oh, but the family's all expecting the marriage in May and there's a party. I don't care. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And you're going to make it so much easier if you get married now before you become current, and that you've had the extra processing. There's a chance that it could work out correctly, but I just don't understand why you would risk it by setting a wedding date in May, probably because based on the wedding venue or some stupidity. Get on with it. Go get married now. Oh, yeah, so grumpy. Honestly, I feel like I'm talking to one of my kids, and and I can't get them to do what I want them to do. Oh, I have lots of kids, by the way. I have 4 kids and 8 grandkids, so I'm used to this. I'd applied for this year's DV lottery, but I'm already in the US for school. What happens if I'm selected? If you're selected, which is probably about a 1 in 100 year chance, Keith, then you go through an adjustment of status process. Not a problem. Right? Wait and get selected first. Emma says, stopping by, thanks again for the great advice and DV journey. The improbable EU39K Stockholm. Just arrived in the Bay Area, still addicted to the channel. Cool. Yeah, this is kind of like rocking horse shit. There's a saying in the UK, it's like rarer than rocking horse shit, if you understand what that means. EU39K was like, a miracle to get through in DV24, and I had said it absolutely wouldn't happen, but Emma luckily believed and got lucky, and now is in the Bay Area. So welcome, neighbor. You must be in my area. Best of luck to you. After the interview, the officer kept my passport and other documents. That's a good sign. But he also gave me back my visa size photos. Do I need to provide the photos back again? My status is still ready. That's weird. I've never heard that they gave back the photos. Did they take other biometrics? Did they take your other photos or something? It's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know what they'll do about that. You'll have to check with the embassy. Okay, repeating his question again. I'm the winner of Greencard. Hello, Mr. Simon. Please tell me. I am the winner of Greencard 2325. Don't know what that means. But I study in Taiwan and cannot live in the USA for 6 months. What should I do? Can I write a letter to someone? Write a letter to someone to say what? If you've got a green card, you're supposed to be living and studying and working in America, right? Do you mean it's a 6 month, you've got to finish off your course for 6 months? That's okay. You just enter within the 6 month time period on your visa, and then you leave the country. And in some cases, people leave the country for longer than 6 months. As long as you're back within 12 months for that first re-entry, then that's understandable. It's not really a problem. Okay. Okay, let's just see. This is an interesting question from Mugshot. Iranian green card holder, currently in the US. I've been waiting to travel since November. Why did you wait? Why didn't you just go? Do you think the administration will establish clear criteria for the potential travel ban? Any suggestion? I think you'll be fine. The travel bans previously did not affect green card holders. That took a bit of a court battle. So there was a temporary impact to green card holders who were from banned countries. But that was worked out, right? So the courts have already ruled on that, and therefore that will probably be part of the terminology in any ban if that ban happens. So I think you're going to be fine. I wouldn't personally even wait. It's up to you. But what's the highest prediction for OC 2025? I posted a video on my YouTube channel, Brit Simon YouTube channel, last October with the OC prediction. Go have a look at it. Let's see. Okay, this will probably be the last question because we've done an hour and 15 minutes. I have a question. My girlfriend is a green card holder and is also eligible for a citizenship and wants to visit me in Canada for our engagement, as I am on a work permit, not a permanent resident. Oh, God. So it's not a question, it's a statement. Oh, hang on. There's another one. Good. Another question. So, is there a problem that she might not be able to get back to the States? No, it's not a problem. Well, not a problem. Relax. Okay, that was a bit of a non-question. But let's just leave this. I don't agree with this statement, but for those that do, let's just enjoy that statement. And I'm going to substitute that any religious, person that you want to identify, whether that's Muhammad or whether that's whoever it is, Buddha, whoever, you're all welcome to believe whatever you believe, and you're welcome to say the silly stuff you've been taught to say. But I won't be believing that anytime soon or ever. But anyway, you do you. If it gives you comfort, there's no harm in that. I'm not threatened by your religious thoughts, Crucial Sounds, and you shouldn't be threatened by my non-religious religious thoughts either. But just as I said earlier, I don't believe that religion should be a justifiable excuse to go and murder people in another part of your country or in the next country. I don't think that should be ever the justification. And unfortunately, most wars that have ever started have been some aspect has been connected to religion. It's either been because of religion or justified by religion or apologized for by religions. So it does worry me a little bit. But there you go. There's your side of things. You're a Christian. Good luck to you. All right, everybody. Thanks for dropping in today. I hope you'll come back this weekend. If you're like Crucial Sounds and you don't like to listen to atheists, then don't come. That's fine too. But for everyone else, I'll see you next weekend probably. And look out for a video this week. I posted a video about some financial matters for new immigrants. I think it's extremely important that new immigrants come here with some understanding of money and some understanding. I got a really sort of like slightly sad message from someone on that YouTube video who is in his 4th year. So I created a video saying, here's advice for new immigrants. Don't get into debt. Don't get a car loan. Don't do all these things, and do these things. Go watch that video. I think it's important to watch. But one of the comments on there that I got was from someone who has been in the country 4 years and is in credit card debt and does have a car loan and does have personal debts, and from the message sounds somewhat burdened by all these things, right? Which is perfectly understandable. I honestly believe that's a choice. It's an avoidable choice. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go into debt to have a good life here, and you'll be much better off if you don't go into debt. And so that's what I'm advising. I also got somebody else who looked at that video and said I was wrong about the price of used cars. This guy said you can't get a 10-year-old Toyota Corolla for less than $12,000 to $15,000 in Texas. And based on that understanding, this guy then bought a brand new car for which he's obviously in debt for and everything else, right? And again, I regret someone doing that because, number one, it's wrong. I mean, I went straight on Craigslist and I looked up cars in Dallas and Austin, I think. And sure, and just within about 1 minute of searching, I found a Toyota Corolla 2017, I think it was, or 2016, so not even 10 years old, with 180k miles, but that's fine. They last for 300,000 and 400,000 miles, no problem. And it was $8,500. So you can get a perfectly good, really nice condition, clean, nice, good car with a clean title. I'll explain what that means on another video. For $8,500. Now you can drive that car for another 10 years. And it will not break down. If you look after it, it'll be a great car for someone, right? And you can get 10 years use out of that, and it cost you $8,500, right? Even if you gave that car away at the end of 10 years, it will only have cost you $850 per year. And $850 is probably pretty close to what that guy is paying as his monthly payment, right? So there just is no good reason to go into debt to buy new cars. And I'm going to create another video this week exploring that in more detail. And I suggest you watch that one too. If you're going to be moving to the country soon, that's a very common way to get into debt, and it's totally avoidable. So yeah, there you go. All right, everybody, we'll call that a day. All right, keep well, everyone. Bye-bye now.